Good day, everyone. I am Dynamite M. Dahuya from BA Ed 3A, and I am here to report the assigned topic from the Learning Enhancement 1 General Education. The intended learning outcomes of this report. At the end of the discussion, the student should be able to number 1, define the word pagsasalita or speech. Number 2, analyze the importance of displaying graphics. Number 3, identify and analyze the use of human voice in a speech process. Number 4, understand the meaning of the word resonation and how it is used in the production of human voice. And last, number 5, recognize the transport of materials across the cell membrane. We have also the Carl method to be used in identifying the answer. The Carl method should be used, which involves comprehending the question, anticipating distractors, removing incorrect options, and leveraging the two remaining choices by re-examining the question and options. Students should never erase answers or doubt themselves and should pray before and after exams. So, are you ready to learn now? Let us start with the question number 44. Proseso ng paghahatid ng saloobin, opinyon, karunungan sa pamamagitan ng makabuluhang tunog. A. Pakikinig. B. Pagbabasa. C. Pagsasalita. D. Pagtatala. So, we are going to identify first what are the choices or what are the meaning of each choices. So let us have first a brief discussion. Pakikinig. Ang pakikinig ay isang paraan sa pagtanggap ng mensahe sa pamamagitan ng pandinig. Mayroong itong kombinasyon ng tatlong bagay. Tinanggap na tunog, nauunawaan, natatandaan. Pagbabasa naman ay ang proseso ng pagkuha at pag-unawa sa ilang anyo ng inimbak o nakasulat na impormasyon o ideya. Pagsasalita ay paraang mapaihayag ang damdamin sa pamamagitan ng wika gamit ang makabuluhang tunog. Pagtatala o pag-record ay ang paglilista ng mahalagang datos mula sa nabasa, narinig o namasi. Ang pagtatala rin sa pananaliksik ay ang proseso ng paglilista ng lahat ng mga sanggunian, datos at impormasyon na ginamit sa pagsulong ng isang pananaliksik. Ngayon ay bumalik tayo sa question number 44. Proseso ng paghatid ng saloobin, opinyon, karunungan sa pamagitan ng makabuluhang tunog. Gamit ang Carl method, atin itong sasagutan. Ngayon, ang tamang sagot ay letter C, ang pagsasalita. Let us proceed to the next question. Question number 146. Blank means the graphics will be displayed more than once. A. Texting. B. Timing. C. Telling. D. Tagging. So let us have first a brief discussion on the following choices. Texting is the act of composing and sending electronic messages, typically consisting of alphabetic and numeric characters between two or more users of mobile devices, desktops, laptops, or another type of compatible computer. Timing. Timing often means the selection of the exact time or speed at which to do something in order to get the desired or best result. Tiling means the graphics will be displayed more than once. And tagging is the process of classifying words into their parts of speech and labeling them accordingly is known as part of speech tagging, post tagging, or simply tagging. So, in the following discussion, we have found the best answer for the questions, which is the tiling. So, in the question of number 146, which is blank, means the graphic will be displayed more than once, the answer is letter C, which is the tiling. So the next question is question number 4. In the speech process, which is concerned with amplifying and enriching the voice using human amplifiers such as the nose, windpipe, and chest. A. Resonation. B. Inflection. C. Phonation. D. Articulation. So we're going to have a brief discussion first. The process of speech production by the human voice may be divided into phonation, resonation, and articulation. Phonation is the process by which energy from the lungs in the form of air pressure is converted into audible vibrations, while resonation is the process by which the basic product of phonation is enhanced in timbre and or intensity by the resonators, including amplification, enrichment, enlargement, and etc. Articulation is seen as the changes in the resonance of the vocal tract and the agents of such changes. So, in the following choices, the best answer will be the resonation. So it is obviously observed in the following discussion that resonation is the best answer for the questions in the speech process, which is concerned with the amplifying and enriching the voice using human amplifiers such as the nose, windpipe, and chest. So the best answer is letter A, resonation. Now let us proceed to the additional questions. The transport of materials across the cell membrane. Question number 1. It is also known as the plasma membrane, as a lipid biliary that separates the cell interior from the extracellular space. A. Molecules. B. Cell. C. Plasma. D. Cell membrane. So before we're going to find the answer, let us have first a brief discussion. The cell membrane is also known as the plasma membrane, is a lipid bilayer that separates the cell interior from the extracellular space. So, the picture below shows the cell membrane. Composition of the cell membrane. A cell membrane is a complex structure with several components and described here. First, phospholipid bilayer that has polar heads on the outside in contact with water and non-polar tails inside the bilayer. Unsaturated fatty acids in the lipid hydrophobic tails increase the membrane fluidity. The more the proportion of unsaturated fatty acids, the higher the fluidity. Second, cholesterol interspersed between phospholipids gives rigidity to the membrane. The more the proportion of cholesterol, the more rigid the membrane. Two types of proteins. integral proteins that span the membrane and serve as transporters of species, and peripheral proteins that are loosely attached to the outer side of the membrane that act as enzymes to facilitate the interaction with the cell's environment. Glycoproteins and glycolipids have carbohydrate parts attached to the outer lipid layers and serve the purpose of cell to cell recognition. The cell membrane controls the movement of substances in and out of the cell and organelles. It is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules. It plays a role in cell adhesion, cell signaling, and attachment surface for the cytoskeleton to give the shape to the cells and attach to the extracellular matrix to hold the cells together in tissues. So in the question, let us go back to the question known as the plasma membrane, and is a lipid layer that separates the cell interior from the extracellular space. The answer will be letter D, the cell membrane. Now let us proceed to the question number 2. Question number 2. How do materials move across the cell membrane? A. Materials are moved through diffusion only. B. Materials are transported across the cell membrane through various ways such as diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. C. Both A and B. D. Materials are transported through active transport. So first, in identifying the answer, let us have first the brief discussion. Transport through the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a partition between the intracellular and extracellular spaces, but some substances needed by the cell need to enter and some products or waste need to exit the cell. The cell membrane allows selective movement of substances in and out of the cell in several ways. So first, diffusion. Diffusion is non-polar molecules such as O2, CO2, and N2 can move across the membrane from a higher concentration region to a lower concentration region through the process of diffusion. Diffusion does not require energy, and hence this is called passive transport. So the picture attached below is a picture that shows diffusion. Second, facilitated diffusion. Proteins that span the membrane form channels through which polar molecules and ions can diffuse more rapidly than by simple diffusion. The proteins have the channel size that match the size of the substance, or they change the shape to adjust to the size of the substance that needs to be selectively transported through the facilitated transport. Ions such as chloride ion or Ci to the power negative, bicarbonate ion or the HCO3, and polar molecules like glucose molecules do not move fast enough through simple diffusion and are transported by the facilitated diffusion process to meet the need of the cells. Movement of water involves facilitated diffusion with the help of protein channels called aquaporins. Movement of water across cell membranes give rise to osmosis. Facilitated diffusion does not require energy, and hence this is also an example of passive transport. So, the picture shown below also shows the facilitated diffusion. Next is the active transport. Sometimes substances need to be moved against the concentration gradient from lower to higher concentration. This process requires the input of energy. Polar molecules and ions are transported across membranes through a protein channel in the direction of lower to higher concentration. For example, K plus concentration is greater inside the cell and NAT is greater outside the cell. In the conduction of nerve impulses and contraction of muscles, K plus moves into the cell and NAT moves out of the cell by active transport. The active transport process picture is shown below in the description. So we are going to go back to the question. The answer will be letter B. To conclude, in conclusion, through defining speech, analyzing and identifying the importance of displaying graphics and the use of human voice in speech process, and the ability in recognizing the transport of materials across the cell membrane are crucial and important in excelling in studies, especially during exams. This enables takers to effectively interpret and communicate their understanding of the given text, fostering deeper understanding and understanding the process in both speech and transport of materials across the cell membrane. Therefore, this will lead students to lifelong learners. You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits. And surely your habits will change your future by APJ Abdul Kalam. Again, this is Dyname Amdahuya from BEd 3A. Thank you. No,